For over 125 years, Norton, as a manufacturer of diamond and abrasive products, has focused on safety. Safety in the way that our products are used and the way we safely conduct business on roadway job sites. We want to make sure that you are properly trained and equipped to do your job safely and productively. We each have a personal responsibility to make safety our highest priority.
It doesn't really hit you until you're standing out there and for a split second you think that truck could hit me and I might not go home. Most of the time you're 3 to 4 feet away from live traffic with cars and semis going by you at 50 to 70 miles an hour, and the only thing protecting you is a plastic cone. We work in a dangerous situation.
The risk in highway and street construction is 2 to 4 times greater than that of other areas of building construction. On average, more than 100 workers are killed and 20,000 are injured every year in the road construction industry. At Norton Abrasives, safety is our highest priority. For construction diamond tool sales, part of your job will require you to work in and around road construction work zones. This video will demonstrate guidelines for safely entering, working within, and exiting a roadway work zone. Everyone that enters a road work zone must have a basic orientation to the site. This should include an understanding of the internal construction traffic flow, means of entering and exiting the work zone, and the emergency escape path designations.
The first time anyone goes out on a live traffic construction site, it's best, I think, if they could ride with somebody who's been out there before, because it can be a scary situation.
It's too much of a risk to just start out cold. If you were going to try to learn how to parachute out of an airplane, you wouldn't just go down, read a book, listen to somebody on a video like me, and go jump out of a plane. You do that with somebody else first.
The safest thing, if I had a diamond salesman coming out to the job, I would probably have the individual meet me at a staging area off the freeway and have them attend the pre-task prior to the shift. We cover a lot of questions in our pre-task before our start time.
Hopefully you can ride out there when the whole caravan of vehicles goes out there, but if you can't do that, make sure you notify the customer you're working for that you're going to be out there that night, and get out there a little early, drive by the construction zone and look to see how many trades and how many people and what's going on, and obviously look to see where you get in and out and what to watch out for.
The main motto in road construction work zone safety is see and be seen. Standards for vehicle warning lights and high visibility worker apparel are established to make sure work vehicles and personnel stand out so they are clearly and easily seen.
It is mandatory that you would show up with all the proper PPE, just like the crew would be wearing. We wear not only reflective vests, but pants also in a nighttime closure.
The personal protective equipment required for road construction work zones consists of Class 3 high visibility safety apparel, hard hats, safety glasses, steel-tipped work boots with slip-resistant soles, and hearing protection. For night work, it is also recommended to carry a flashlight.
Lighting is critical. Most of our trucks have 1,000-watt work lights. We have all of our beacons and our flashers going. The illumination helps us be seen. And with the reflective clothes, you stand out. So we try to illuminate our areas the best we can.
I usually try and drive by the site first and then try and find a parking lot that I can stop at, and then get my car ready, get my signs on, get my beacon on, get all my vest and hard hat and everything ready so that when I walk out on the site, I'm ready to go.
If you are in a rental vehicle, you will need a portable magnetic beacon or strobe with 360-degree visibility. Make sure you also have your vehicle hazard lights turned on. Entering and exiting work zones are the most dangerous. The ability to get in and out of the closure is usually a challenge. Typically, you're not going to have a nice closure that you pull in one end and pull out the other end, and you've got the ability to accelerate and decelerate.
Coming up to the construction site, I'll have my beacon on, I'll have my strobes on, have my flashes on, and a quarter mile, half mile, start slowing way down and making myself noticed in the lane of traffic that I'm traveling in so that another vehicle doesn't follow you into the construction zone. It's very dangerous, very common. Just got to watch and make sure you don't cause any accidents.
Ideally, you would want that other vehicle to be at least 10, if not 15 seconds behind you so that you have plenty of cushion to get in. If you've only got 3 or 4 seconds, bypass getting into the closure. It's like a bypass landing. Bypass the landing and come around again.
You don't want to enter the closure too early, because if you enter the closure at the beginning and our work's 3 miles down the closure, there might be another trade or two working in between the beginning of the closure and our location. Now you're taking a chance. You got to pull out in traffic, go around that other trade, and then pull back in again. So even when you're careful, it's still a hazard, okay?
When you get ready to pull into a closure, do it at a location that's a long distance away from where the crew is working. Slow up, duck in between the cones as quickly and safely as possible, away from any other equipment or work crews there.
Don't jump in the lane closure immediately after the work zone, because if there's a car in your blind side and you don't see him, you cause an accident, your buddies are right behind you in that work zone. And there's nowhere for that traffic to go a lot of times except for right into that crew. You want to enter at a pretty safe speed. You don't want to slam on your brakes before you enter the closure. You definitely don't want to stop in the live lane before entering the closure. I mean, that sounds ridiculous, but I've seen it happen. And if possible, exiting the closure, we always want to exit the end of the closure. If you can travel all the way down the closure to the end of the cone line, that's the safest way. But a lot of times you can't do that. You've got to enter the live traffic in between the cones. So you want to be cruising down the lane closure at a safe rate of speed and enter that open lane, and of course wait for a large gap.
When driving inside a work zone, keep a safe distance between your vehicle and the construction workers and their equipment. 1 in 3 work zone crashes are rear-end collisions. When you come on site, typically you'd turn your headlights off. You leave your four-ways and your strobes on, but turn your headlights off so that it's not blinding people in the work zone.
You want to watch your speed limits in the lane closure.
There could be holes in the concrete. There could be wet concrete that you drive in and you've ruined it. There could be people digging holes. So yeah, you'd want to go in it exceptionally slow and careful.
Stay alert when you drive your vehicle in or around a work zone. Minimize distractions such as cell phones, GPS devices, and radios.
The safety issues going out on a construction site or a highway work zone, it can be, and it is life or death. I mean, there's live traffic, there's construction workers walking around, there's all sorts of trades, there's construction vehicles. It's an area where you have to be overly cautious. It's a dangerous situation, and you have to go in it with the respect that you don't want to cause an accident and you don't want to be in an accident.
The best place to park your vehicle is in front of the area where they're working. Long enough distance that they're not going to catch up with you. Then when you get ready to leave, you're already in front of them and you're not going to have to impede them. If you've parked your vehicle in such a way that you're behind the crew, then you need to let the crew know how you're going to get past them and get out.
You just got to judge the circumstances of each job site and either drive ahead or park behind. It just depends how much room you have and what other trades are going.
The greatest hazard in highway construction is the intrusion of public vehicles into the work zone. When parking your vehicle inside the work zone, position it to block and protect you against errant public vehicles. Also stage the vehicle so that you will not be required to back up the vehicle.
I think the most frequent accident on a construction site is people backing up. So I try and park so that when I do leave or do move, I don't have to back up. If I do, I try and walk around the vehicle or have a spotter or somebody to direct traffic so that you can do it as safe as possible.
Position yourself so that a vehicle or other barricade is between you and the oncoming traffic whenever possible.
The traffic is driving anywhere from 55 to 75, virtually 2 or 3 feet away from the closure. And in many cases, the only thing between you and that live traffic is a cone that's about 30 inches high, spaced 30 or 40 feet apart. So use the equipment that's on the job site, your truck, other trucks, the equipment of the contractor, to protect yourself.
You've got to block yourselves, okay? If you have a drunk individual come in that lane closure, chances are they're not even going to see you.
I've personally been around 2 situations where that's happened. One of them just recently. And the driver of the vehicle that entered our closure was killed. But fortunately, because our people, the people who were on the job site, were using the equipment that was on the job site to shadow themselves from the live traffic and protect themselves, nobody was hurt on the job that was on the crew.
Working on foot in a highway work zone requires that you are alert and aware of your surroundings at all times. Always try to position yourself so that you are facing oncoming traffic.
When you're out there, you can get so involved in what you're watching and that you can kind of forget some safety rules. And one of the things is never turn your back on live traffic. I mean, sometimes you got to walk around a vehicle or something and it happens for a second. But as a rule, don't stand for long periods of time with your back towards live traffic. Always stand where you can see what's coming. Always be concerned about somebody coming into the lane closures that's not supposed to be there.
Plan your escape route. Where are you going to go if something goes wrong?
Make eye contact with equipment operators or other vehicle drivers before entering their space of operation.
Don't assume that he sees you. Wait until he looks at you and there's eye contact and acknowledgement, like I say, see or be seen, so that everyone knows what's happening.
Treat equipment and construction vehicles with caution. There may be equipment in the work zone that has a swing radius, and vehicle drivers may have blind spots.
You got to stay out of that reverse spot because they're not going to see you. Over half of work zone fatalities are caused by other equipment backing over people that are walking in the work zone. Many sites have moving objects and things on the ground. Water hoses are usually there for any work that you're doing with diamond work, and those water hoses are going to be moving with the equipment. You got to make sure that you're not standing in an area where that hose is going to come along and grab your feet.
We got to make sure we meet the safety requirements of the contractors that we're working with. For instance, the slip-resistant shoes or the steel-toed shoes, you're out there walking with saws that are creating unlimited amount of water slurry. It's dangerously slippery, and you're carrying blades that weigh anywhere from 5 pounds to 45 pounds, and there's sharp edges, and you drop a blade on your foot. Steel-toed shoes are very important. Eye protection at night, you need really clear safety glasses. During the day, the tinted ones are a little bit better, but we're working with saws that turn in blades at 1,000 to 3,000 RPMs, and segments or dirt or anything can fly out, and you need that eye protection. The ear muffs and ear protection, you stand near those saws too long and you can damage your hearing. And you need to have those earplugs in to just protect your hearing. Hard hat is obviously needed for protection, and you need to have all that stuff on, or the contractor you're working for might get asked to leave, or you might get asked to leave, so you got to make sure you have all that stuff.
As you prepare to go to a work zone, you need to be in touch with your customer to get information about what the hazards and the risks might be on this particular job site, what's my best way to get in and out of it, what lanes are going to be closed, and so on. And you try to get that all looked at up front. And then be flexible, because there's probably an 80% chance that's going to change by the time you show up. And you got to be thinking all the time on your feet to accommodate those changes, not only to support your customers, but certainly to keep yourself safe.
By thoroughly and effectively planning your job with safety in mind, you can eliminate or minimize job hazards. Remember, it not only affects your safety, but the safety of others.